Hello, Inez. My name is Marcus Zacharak. I'm here to talk about my summer work term with KPMG Vancouver in the role of a staff accounting co-op student. So basically, my responsibilities through this position were to work with an audit team on various assignments. I worked on 6 clients over the course of my term, which gave me excellent exposure to different clients, all in the same industry. I was in the energy and natural resources group. Some of my responsibilities included auditing financial statements and management discussion and analysis papers. So basically, what I would do is go into a document that had the company's financial statements, look for any errors amongst numbers, spelling errors, check that those numbers agreed to either last year's performance, if it was a last year number, or they agreed to the MD&A if they were from this year's numbers. So a lot of this was done through a software called eAudit. Um, Another thing I did was I summarized minutes that were held at board meetings for the company. So a company would send us summarize details of every meeting that they had together with the board to discuss, for instance, maybe a CEO compensation or the appointment of a new CEO, or just general things for the company, voting on, with the shareholders voting on different things. And I would have to summarize all of those minutes and put them into this document that would then go into the audit file. Another thing I did was I reconciled different company accounts in a big consolidation sheet. So companies would basically have all of their entries that they've made throughout the term, and I would say, okay, there's this much in cash. Does that agree to the financial statements? Does that agree to the MD&A? And just kind of check that everything was in line across all fronts. Some of my learning outcomes for this co-op term was, first, I wanted to complete 5 Excel courses through it's called GLMS, which is KPMG's continuous learning, not a software, but maybe like a library of courses. So I wanted to really improve my Excel skills because I know that I think right now at least I plan to get my CPA designation, so I know I'm going to be working a ton in Excel, and I figured what better time to start than now when I have this excellent resource with me. So I took these 5 courses, which really helped me throughout my job. The most effective course that I took was a course on pivot tables, which was excellent because I saw pivot tables pretty much every day on the job. So I wanted to know how to create them, how to kind of navigate through a pivot table, and really just how to become more familiar with them and not freak out every time I saw one. I completed 4 of the 5. So unfortunately, I didn't complete all 5 that I wanted to. But once I started to get client work, I didn't quite have enough time. My second learning outcome was become more comfortable, let's say, with analyzing a financial statement. So going into this co-op, I had only had exposure to 2 accounting courses. One of them was a managerial accounting class where you really don't see a ton of financial statement for external users. So I thought that while I'm here and while I'm looking at financial statements every day, I really want to get more comfortable with analyzing them, knowing what everything means, kind of being able to see the story of a company over a certain period just by looking at their financial statements. And I would definitely say that I'm more comfortable with them now. I understand that there's still a ton to learn and different ways to value companies and tons of more things that could come out of a financial statement. However, I'd say right now I definitely met my goal of becoming more comfortable with with more of a general sense of viewing the statements. Another learning outcome I had was becoming more familiar with an audit software. So KPMG used a software called eAudit, and this basically has every file that they would need for the whole operation. And when I first started the job and I was taking eAudit courses to try and learn what to do and where things are located, I was like very intimidated. So one of my goals at the beginning of the work term was, okay, I want to become more familiar with this. I want to be able to run through this without any fear, basically, and with full confidence. And by the end of the work term, I was completely confident in finding things or bringing certain documents in, taking certain documents out. So I definitely increased my confidence there. And my last learning outcome was to build my network and personal brand within the firm. So this was very difficult, being that everything was virtual. However, I attended as many online socials and different sessions with the other interns as well as other people. So, for instance, there was a virtual workout. It was like a yoga type workout, and I took part in that. And everyone had their cameras on, and it was really just a good time. People were laughing throughout it because it was more of a fun thing. Not everyone is the best at yoga, so that was one way that I got to meet different people and network. And as far as establishing my personal brand goes, I'd say that I maintained professional behavior and was respectful of all my coworkers. Basically, whenever I could, whenever we were on a Microsoft Teams call or a Skype call or anything, I always maintained that professional behavior. So recommendations to future students to do a co-op outside of Victoria, I would say to first off see it as an opportunity. Like, there's so many different opportunities that are not confined to the city of Victoria, although it's excellent to do a work term there. For me, when I saw the opportunity to work for a Big Four firm in Vancouver, I was very attracted to it. I love the idea of attending all these social events and meeting new people, and just the different experience you get wherever you are. You're always going to have a good time, and I would completely recommend it to anyone else as well. From like in accounting, for instance, the client exposure, like the Vancouver office has a lot more international clients, whereas the Victoria office would mainly be local clients. So it completely depends on what you like, and what you're interested in, the office size and whatnot. But I would definitely encourage people to look outside of Victoria for their work term, because I had a great time. I'm sure they will as well. And lastly, another recommendation I have is to look for employers that align with you and your values. And I found that KPMG really did for me, and that was one of the reasons why I had such an excellent time on this co-op. Thank you.